Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown run.
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning out there to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Brett Pritchard and Scott Hardy here with you here on this Saturday morning. Glad that you've joined us wherever it is that you're tuning us in this morning. Scott, on already a warm summer morning outside. It's been hot the last few days. It's going to get hotter. Today, I think we got, a chance to have 99. Little programming note. Speaker still up here in the studio, so we're getting a little bit of an echo. But, yeah, a little warm. I've got a lot I want to talk about this morning here. We got some big things that were announced this week with AHSAA. One that we're part of, the extension of our contract with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, the changing of the venues for the Super 7 was announced. But before we dive into all that, the last couple of days, and actually wrapping up this morning, Project 412 here in Alexander City. It's a Christian-based community service project led through Cornerstone Methodist here. Jimmy Yates headed that up, and going around and helping our community with our student athletes, Benjamin Russell being part of it. But on top of that, we had some Auburn football players come down yesterday and were part of our working teams, and had the pleasure of having Peyton Thorne in our work group yesterday. And Scott, that's the first time I've been around Peyton up close and personal, and man, really got after it. You could tell he wanted to be here. Luke Dill headed the project up with Jimmy Yates, getting the Auburn guys here. Just glad to see those guys come back, or not just come back, but come to Alex City to not just talk to the youth, but really help, roll up their sleeves. They didn't have to do that. They worked out yesterday, first thing that morning, and then got in the car and drove here to work all day and help people here that need a little assistance, Scott. So a lot of good things going on in the community. We had a highlight on Alexander City this week from another news agency that we can talk about. But excited to have that going on, but a lot of news broke this week. So.
Yeah, and just keeping with the theme of Project 412, a couple things there. The thing that I love the most about it is, any mission work is great, but when you're able to do it within your own community, I think it gives you a little more sense of pride, because you may know the people, and when you're impacting your own community, you get a different type of feeling. And the second part of that is, in today's world of NIL and all of that, to have people coming back and actually contributing to something without anything in return was good to see. So great job by Jimmy Yates and all that were involved in putting this together.
I think the biggest reward people get out of anything, if they'll allow themselves to participate, is giving back to somebody. That's a huge. You just said that. We talked about that yesterday, and again, I think we get so inundated on this show, inundated on everything that we see about these college kids. Just, what are you gonna give me? Me. Can I have more? He's getting paid this. I need this. Scott, it is good that, these guys didn't have to do this. And, Peyton kind of told us, he said, Luke sent us all a text and said, how many of you want to go? And he said sent it in a smaller group. And then, he said 7 or 8 of us replied, yeah, we want to go. And so they took care of what they needed to take care of yesterday morning in Auburn, and then they headed on up here to Alexander City. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes to thank them for coming back. But I want to also highlight our student athletes, our girls and our guys, at Benjamin Russell High School, the football team. I think 50-plus came yesterday of the football team. Again, it was voluntary. It wasn't mandatory. for them to come and participate. And then, of course, the baseball, softball team, volleyball team, basketball teams were there. Girls basketball was there. So it's good to see, the athletic department at Benjamin Russell saying, look, this is a great opportunity for team building too, for us to get out in the community. And like you said, Scott, this project was born out of a project that used to travel and go 7-8 hours away to Appalachia and help people for a week during the summer. And Jimmy Yates comes back and goes, hey, I tell you what, we've got plenty around here that need help. So why don't we start our own project? And that's how this was born. But, yep, it's rewarding. Scott, the last 2 days, hot outside, a lot of work on houses, a lot of wheelchair ramps were built, things like that people need. Very, very easy to say, man, I could be doing something else, but it's good to see 150-plus strong the last couple of days getting after it.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a reflection of our community as well. Very philanthropic and giving in its nature, and that's always been reflected. But again, I do think that this was a great initiative to begin with, to start in our community and giving back to those. And obviously, there's nothing wrong with going and helping others that aren't in your community. But as you said, it's a little more rewarding, I think,
right,
when you can impact those that are around you.
Well, I said this yesterday, and then we'll move on. When you go out on the field on Friday night, or you're on the basketball court, or wherever competing, now that means a little bit more. You not that you weren't out there fighting hard anyway, but when you go out on that field, now you remember who that community that supports you. Now you're out there playing for them, and it just that sense of ownership and. That just a good life lesson for a lot of people. But Scott, a lot of fun. Glenn's already chimed in. He said we got to start talking about Texas with exclamation mark. And we'll say good morning too. But we'll talk about Texas. Texas and Oklahoma coming into the SEC. I think officially everything starts in July for Texas and Oklahoma officially in the SEC. So they're here basically. They've been here for a while, but. Want to talk about the AHSAA agreements and announcements that happened. We'll start with the Super 7. Super 7 going to not be at Auburn and Alabama any longer. And, when you see that headline this week, it's kind of misleading. It's kind of one of those deals where you look at it and go, man, what happened? They won out of that. Is that hurting the AHSAA? That's not it at all. The college football playoff is coming up this year. And we all hope that Alabama and Auburn both have an opportunity to host a first-round game. Well, the first-round games are home site games. Well, you can't commit, to an event like the Super 7 with the new structure of the college football playoff. So, unfortunately, and you heard the people from Tuscaloosa and Auburn both say, it stinks that it's this way. We've enjoyed having it, but we've got to do this because this affects us directly. It will stay at Protective Stadium in Birmingham, but there'll also be some other schools that come in the rotation. Will it be Jacksonville State? I know they want it, but they said there's some logistics things they've got to fix for themselves as well. I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Troy maybe, or UNA or somebody. I think I just saw where UNA is going to be building a new stadium here coming up. So there's some other schools here in the USA South maybe gets in a rotation. I don't know how it all works out, but I just wanted to kind of, correct the misnomer out there that Alabama and Auburn wanted out of the deal. They did not want out of the deal. They were forced out of the deal with the college football playoff.
Yeah, and, we've seen similar situations with this. Auburn and Alabama weren't necessarily in contention always for the SEC championship, but when Nick Saban kind of got things going in Alabama, the final game used to be on Saturday.
That's right.
And that has now been shifted to kind of make sure that that's not
That's
a conflict there as well. So, high school football obviously is very dominant in the state, but if it's going to impact our two flagship programs, then that's going to be an issue. But it would be nice, I think, to get some other schools in rotation if and when that's a possibility. Just what that does to an exposure level for the college itself and universities, and for the student athletes involved as well.
I'm happy that our group was part of this run. started back in 2009 with the first game at Bryant-Denny, and then to Jordan-Hare in 2010, and it's been that way up until now. So we were part of it from start to finish, and so it's been a great run. And for all of us, which we were much younger back in 2009, that was a dream for all of us. You know, I worked at Auburn for a long time, and when I was a student down there, and so I was involved in athletics, but, you know, as pursuing broadcasting and that kind of stuff, looking up at that press box, even when I was working there and being around Jim Fife and knowing him personally, it was a goal to call a game from Jordan-Hare Stadium. I was thinking more of calling an Auburn game from Jordan-Hare Stadium, but ended up calling a high school game and called many good state championship games from Jordan-Hare Stadium. So, and vice versa from Bryant-Denny, one of the ones that I'll never forget, Scott, ever. Even though I forget a lot of stuff now, I don't think I'll ever forget the Auburn-Thompson game. I just completely in shock calling that game. It was so in control by Auburn that Randy and I had just we were just kind of talking about the next day and the games that were going to be going on. I remember that fourth quarter, for the most part, looking down at Thompson that had such a great year. Giving each other a hug, crying. They were like one of the top teams in the state, USA Today, and looked like Auburn was going to come out with a big upset, and just that game just turned on. I mean, they had pretty much conceded. I mean, Mark Freeman was walking up and down the sidelines consoling his players with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game. That's how fast that one turned around. I don't know that we'll ever see one like that again, and I know the pain for Auburn High School has to be, I'm sure it's as much today as it was the day that happened. I won't ever forget it, Scott.
Yeah, my wife and I, like, I can remember it too. My wife and I were watching the game, and she was like, "Do you want to go ahead and turn out?" I was like, "Well, I just want to hear what the post game's going to be because it's a big deal for Auburn to win." And then gradually things just started happening, and then the onside kick, and I was like, "Man, it may happen." And so once that happened, you kind of felt like the tide had turned. But the team has been a part of some great calls, and some funny, some emotional, some exciting. But it's been a great run. But
we're not going anywhere.
I was about to say we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side of the break. But we'll be here for a while. Maybe Hines will be playing by the time that happens.
And by the time the end of this contract, we're going to hand it off. I can promise you that. All right, we're up against our first break of the show. Just getting started. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life. Red Flag Pest Control is Central Alabama's best in pest control with hometown service in Lake Martin and now the greater Montgomery area. When you see pests, throw down the red flag. Termites, bed bugs, carpenter bees, mosquitoes, or general pests. Red Flag gets the job done at the right price for your home or business. At Lake Martin, call 888-943-0353 or in Montgomery, 334-265-1831. Red Flag, the best in pest control in Central Alabama.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Speaking of sunshine, it's going to be hot. Today, a full-blown lake season. We're rolling right on through the month of June. We'll blink, Scott. 4th of July will be here and gone. And then we'll be looking at getting ready to kick football off.
Yeah.
Before. I mean, it really does go by fast. I know summer it is only 3 months really anyway, but it just seems like it's faster and faster every year. And I know it does to the kids too, because they're so active and involved. I was able to talk to Coach Grider for a little while yesterday, and got a few more 7-on-7s coming up this summer. They had one scheduled for Jacksonville State, and Jacksonville State I think had to cancel it because of some field issues or something. I don't know what's going on there, but they're going to be involved in another one in Foley and another one at Hoover, the big one at Hoover, and I believe maybe either UAB or Troy. So still several 7-on-7s for them, and all the schools here in the state are participating in that, and the summer play dates. And you got All-Star Sports Week in July, which is coming up, but a lot going on, and kind of what we were talking about in the first segment. We talked about the Super 7 and the restructure of that rotation because of Auburn and Alabama not participating anymore because of the college football playoff. But we expand our contract, or extend, I guess, the AHSAA radio network. We announced, and the AHSAA announced, rather, we didn't, their partnership with us through 2035. Scott, it's a little surreal to look down on a piece of paper and go, is that right? Is that number right? And it's been a great run to this point, and hopefully we're looking forward to another solid 11+ years on this contract, and take it 1 year at a time. But excited about the HSA and the opportunity to expand our contract into the next decade.
Yeah, and congratulations to you and Randy and the rest of the team for this accomplishment. I think about the inception of how this began, and getting the initial opportunity to call the Super 7 or Super 6 at that time, and getting the finals, to see where the state of the organization itself has grown, but alongside that, how school athletics has changed in our state. Nationally too, but how competitive we've been, and some of the best players that are now NBA guys, NFL guys, Major League guys. So we've had an opportunity to cover lots of great talent in schools and stories, and I'm sure as we continue in this digital age of how we do things, we'll continue to see more and more of that moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. It's amazing where it was and now where it is, and then. It's also surreal to look at the numbers of people we reach, over 2 million last year, through various platforms, through our network. And Randy said it this week on his Facebook page. He said, I truly think, we're, our better years are ahead of us. And I think so, and being able to do some things. I think we've got a lot of things in the works that, if they come to fruition, could really be a game changer for the state of Alabama for high school athletics, and we just are glad to be part of that. All right, so some comments coming in. Patrick said, don't be surprised if Eric Winters doesn't commit today at Auburn. And then Kyle says, if he does, Grady will too. He's trending to Auburn. We're going to dive into all of this here in a few minutes with Auburn recruiting, Alabama. Hopefully catch up with Luke Robinson in the second hour as well, because this is a massive recruiting weekend for Auburn. And we talked about it yesterday on the show a little bit. Jason Caldwell was part of the program yesterday. I actually talked to Peyton Thorne. Of course, he was on our work team yesterday about these recruits, and then the vibe around the complex and everything. And it's different. Scott got different coaches in there. It's a different roster. And in fairness to Peyton Thorne, we talked about it all last year and this year. We were critical at times, and I think deservingly so. He's not beyond criticism, but you do have to remember when he arrived at Auburn, and then basically that's Hugh Freeze getting started himself at Auburn, and a lot of first for everybody, and you're trying to navigate the SEC waters on top of it, which makes it tough. So I'm looking for a more uniformed, more balanced, more in tuned team, and then when you add a better roster to it, again, does it really translate sometimes into wins, but it gives you a better chance to win when you got all of that kind of stuff in line, and everybody's pulling in the same direction. Scott, you got to get all that taken care of first before you start worrying about what the scoreboard says.
Yeah, and I mean, you make a really great point. Is there was a lot of firsts for everybody, and you're trying to get the residue off from what happened in the previous coaching staff.
Well, you had to get a chisel and residue. That stuff ate through like acid.
And it did. And I mean, and so you still had to get some things situated. But I do think that the improved roster, especially at the skill positions, offensive line too, will be much better. But I think that Peyton Thorne will have a much better year, or projected to have a better year, just so off the fact of the type of skill players that Auburn has. I don't think the receiver room has ever been this talented and star-studded in terms of rankings in high school and coming in. So you get a transfer from Penn State as well. So I mean, the room is where it should be, but it's good to hear that there is a different vibe. We haven't felt or heard that in a while. Never really felt that previously with Coach Harsin, and toward the tail end of Gus's, it wasn't that.
The only thing we felt was indigestion, man. I really think, and Patrick said he thinks Peyton Thorne will have a much better season. I know we were at a work project yesterday, but the guy you could just tell he wasn't arrogant at all, so don't misinterpret what I'm about to say. This wasn't a guy that was jittery and acted like, man, I don't know if you could tell. I did an interview with him yesterday, and we'll show that this week coming up, but he very confident in his ability, and we've already seen what kind of numbers he can put up at Michigan State. And again, when you move and you change cultures and you're in this conference and you're trying to learn on the fly and you got new teammates and everything's changing and you have the schedule that Auburn played last year, again, I know all this sounds like a big old boatload of excuses, and it can be interpreted that way, but I think you also have to be realistic in saying, man, it's hard to wave a magic wand and just put everything together in year one when you got so many moving parts. So a lot more stability is all I'm saying. Don't know what that translates to in wins and losses, but again, they have to do the work, and I think they're putting the work in on that. I think you're just going to see a different team. Now, what does that look like in the wins and loss columns? I don't know, but and they've got to be responsible for the things that they.
An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillaby Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillaby Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
This is the time, and Team One Hyundai is the place for the best deals on a new Hyundai. Rebates up to $2,000, 3 years of complimentary maintenance, and the lowest price you'll find anywhere. Team One Hyundai has Elantra, Palisade, Santa Cruz, and the all-new Santa Fe. Get America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, plus Hyundai Assurance, and the best deal you can find. Let us prove it. Team One Hyundai, Highway 77 in Rainbow City.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown, presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. You can call us 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. Comments coming in. Patrick said that, Hughes putting on a full court press for Juju Lewis. No doubt about it. I think that's the quarterback in this class that Auburn targeted months ago. Really, really want him part of this team. I think Hugh Freeze feels like he's the quarterback that could really mesh with this team and his and Derek Nick's style of offense with the pieces around him. You sign a guy like him, you got a guy like Walker White, Scott, that's sitting there being groomed to be the quarterback after Peyton Thorne leaves this year. One of those two maybe battling it out, or those two battling it out, one of those two grabbing the start position. You got Cunningham at wide receiver, another top-ranked wide receiver that you would be possibly looking at adding to this class for next year. And then you got the group that we've got that you just talked about, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail on. This wide receiver group would be more likely to all stay together. You sign a guy like him. I think elite quarterback play is obviously the difference maker in college football for a lot of teams, and it can close the gap in some things that you're deficient in when you got a guy back there that can really change the game with, just his pure athletic ability. So, no doubt, Patrick, I think pouring on the full court press this weekend for Juju to maybe flip from USC to Auburn.
Yeah, and you bring up just Walker White for a second. You and I last week in between one of the breaks, I was talking to you about, redshirting and how does that play into people's decision. Are people going to want to redshirt anymore? And just when you, especially at the quarterback position, for the most part, you are, unless you're just replacing somebody who's been there 3 or 4 years, you're probably going to have to wait. But are players going to be willing to do that? Or coaches maybe say, you know what, we're going to have to get them in earlier than we thought, and even if it means playing 2 or some packages for guys, how do you see that playing out as the recruiting cycle heats up a little bit more?
Playing out?
Well, in terms of, like, are people going to accept the red shirt?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, that again, college football's changed so much, Scott. I don't know if anybody can really make a prediction on who's going to stay and whatnot. All you can do is try to build a program and a system that has a winning culture, and you surround each other with top-notch talent that all are bought into the same philosophy. And let the chips fall where they may at that point. You know, Walker White will have to make a decision that's best for him if he weren't to win the starting job next year. I don't think Juju Lewis wants to come in and sit on the bench anywhere. But again, that's why it's called competition. I really think we lose sight of all of this. You're not going to stop recruiting top-notch players for that position just because you signed one the year before. I think if you do that, that's a loser mentality. That's creating a culture of, oh, you're our guy, and maybe I don't know Walker White, and I think everything we've seen from him off the field shows you that he is an extremely hard worker and wants to do the things he's got to do to make Auburn the best program possible. But it's hard as a human when you know that it's yours and there's nobody pushing you to become complacent. And I don't think he's a complacent kid, and I don't think that's what he wants. I think he wants the ability to earn it. And you want whoever is taking over that position or any position, Scott, to have earned it, not had it handed to them. And I think that's what you're looking at. If you want to move on after you didn't win the job, whoever it is, then so be it. You know, but if you want to stay the course and say, look, I'm not walking out of here. I still think I can be the quarterback here. I want to play at this university. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year or the year after. So, you know, I know the Stetson Bennett, I guess, example is it's an anomaly. It's a outlier. But that kid could have easily quit football. I mean, I didn't even think you had fifth-string quarterbacks. I mean, seriously. I mean, he was so far down the list. I mean, they were looking for him, and they couldn't find him. They didn't even know he was on the team, and then all of a sudden he works up and gets an opportunity, and, man, he wins 2 national championships for Georgia. I know that's an extreme example, but the kid could have just easily said, man, I don't have a chance. Here, I'm going to go, and he was told that by people. Said, you're not ever going to play at Georgia. You're not ever going to play at a school this big. So it's all about what you want to do, I think. We have a culture now, Scott, and again, I think you'll agree with me, of if it's a little bit tough, I'm just going to take my ball and go somewhere else. I'm not gonna fight through it because it means something. I'm just gonna, well, obviously somebody's got it out for me here. I'm gonna go somewhere else. I just think that is what we've adapted to in this culture now, and it's kind of permeated these kids, and they want it right now, and if it's not handed to them, they go somewhere else.
Yeah, and sorry to go off on that, but it just had me thinking, it's like, you know, that quarterback room could start to get similar to what our wide receiver or Auburn's wide receiver room is if we continue on this track. And obviously that's a very important position anyway, but when in Hugh Freeze's offense or scheme, you need a strong quarterback play, and you bring up, you know, how a quarterback can change the trajectory of a team or mask some deficiencies. We saw it in 2010. We saw it in 13 and 14 with Nick Marshall. So if you've got somebody special back there, yeah, it can make up for some lack of productivity in some other areas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, and again, we'll talk to Luke hopefully in the next hour. Just kind of get this is a different culture at Alabama right now. You know, they've been used to 17 years of Nick Saban, and you're not going to emulate that. You're not going to repeat that. If you're trying to do that, you're gonna fail. Everybody's got to be their own person. And look, Kalen DeBoer's got to stick to who he is. He can't change based off of somebody saying, well, this is how it's been done here. You know, when you start doing that, I think we saw Brett Bielema at Arkansas get away from what he knew what to do and how to do it to try to change, I guess, with the times of the change in offense, and he couldn't do it, man. And when he made the change to try to spread it out at Arkansas, it was a disaster. You know, he was a big-time, big offensive line, running tight team, and when he got away from it, so Kalen DeBoer's got to be him. Although there's going to be pressure, and people say, well, this is not how we did it here, and I'll bring up that when we come back from this break. So stay tuned. A lot more to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Weiss with Weiss Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Weiss Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Weiss Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Weiss Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Daytonville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes. They're installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Hillary Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret. An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillary Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillary Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. If you're out and about today, make sure you stay cool wherever it is. Find you some shade. Jump in the lake, jump in the pool, find a pool somewhere. Don't just randomly go to somebody's house and jump in the pool. Now, you know better than that. But, anyway, cool off out there as we're heading into the latter part of June and then into the doldrums of summer, man. It gets hot around here.
Yeah, but, you know, that just always means we're getting close back to football starting. And so,
does it ever stop?
Yeah, true. Honestly, I mean, there's unless you play another sport.
These high school kids anybody that just heard that said, get back to it. Said, when did we stop?
That.
So,
I mean, once spring training starts, then or spring practice starts, that's it until basically the Super 7's over. You get that little window there in the spring, but
right.
It's year round, and so we talk about these 7-on-7 camps and the competitions, and some friends of mine were talking about it this week, just how, when we were in school, how different it is now. Like, you maybe did a little play days there, but it was really just you were in that weight room and you were conditioning, and
right.
So now there's more opportunities to install offenses and that type of thing.
So much more fun for skill position guys. On both sides of the ball, defense and offense. You get to go to these camps and match up in a skeleton drill, basically. And they created tournaments out of this. I think it's great. Obviously the lines of scrimmage aren't part of this, which is a massive part of the game, but it gives an opportunity for your quarterback and your receivers and your running backs to kind of gel and get on the same page, and the defensive the secondary and the linebackers to kind of hone their skills a little bit. And when you go to these camps, you're going up against some of the best. When you go to the Hoover camp or you go to the Auburn camp a couple weeks ago, or you go down to that big camp in Foley, they're bringing in teams from all over, not just in the state of Alabama. You're playing teams from all over the country, not just the Southeast either. So it really gives you an opportunity to line up and play against some teams that you otherwise wouldn't ever have the opportunity to do. So, yeah, I love there's parts of football that have changed way for the better. Mm-hmm. There's also parts that are going in the wrong direction. I think a lot of people feel that way, but it's a good opportunity there. And then the expansion of play dates in the summer for other sports. So it's not just football. It's basketball, it's softball, baseball, volleyball. All of them have a window of time, I think 10 days, that they can gather and, work on things in the off season and get ready, which is great. Keeps kids involved and engaged.
I think that's the most important part, is the consistent engagement and participation in the sport or sports. But these 7-on-7s have become a showcase for some of these skilled guys, and you really get to see the athleticism on both sides. I think from a defensive perspective, it's probably a little bit harder in that regard because it's a little more free range in terms of the route running. But Benjamin Russell will continue to participate in those and kind of showcase some of the athletes that we have. But this time of year is a lot of fun as we get geared up for the beginning of the official season, week 0 of high school football.
Yeah, it won't be long. All right, I want to talk about a lot to cover here in the next hour, 20 minutes. We'll talk about the schedule. We had Glenn right out of the gate say we got to start talking about Texas more, whatever. And that we are, Scott, we're shifting over our thought process, adding 2 powerhouse programs into this conference in all sports. Football's the breadwinner, I guess, for everybody. But when you look at how powerful Texas is and Oklahoma is in other sports, like baseball and softball, and you can throw some other things in there, two prominent programs, going to be impactful, going to see how it works out in football this year. Do you anticipate now that there's no divisions, that you could see Texas possibly playing for an SEC championship year 1? I don't have their schedule in front of us right now. We can pull that up, and I know that we'll be doing our preview of every team starting here in a few weeks, because we gotta go through 16 teams, and so we'll try to do 1, maybe 2 a week as we lead up to the start of college football. But just off the cuff, Scott, because this is not on our page to talk about today. I was just thinking about this, though. Could you see Texas? I don't think Oklahoma will, but they might surprise everybody. But could you see in year 1 one of these 2 expansion teams playing for an SEC championship?
I think Texas for sure. I think that they've been waiting for this. They've been hearing about how for the last 20 years how the SEC was the best, and how Alabama and Georgia and LSU, Auburn, Florida, all of these teams have won national championships during this time. And,
right.
They haven't won one since the Vince Young and USC game. So I think that they're very eager to display that, and I think
they've gotten
Coach
better.
Sarkisian too is like, you know,
he knows the landscape.
I've been here, and you know, possibly that could have been me, but I think I've got something going great here, and with the resources, and now with the SEC brand, Texas, I think probably emerges just. You know, they need to be successful, but I think that they emerge to the top of the conference immediately in terms of football, at least, just because of the brand and then matching that brand with the SEC. But not, as you said, not sure exactly on the schedule, and we'll get that together, but I could easily see them coming in, especially to maybe their LSU maybe takes a step back. You don't know what Tennessee's going to do. You don't know what obviously Florida's schedule is ridiculous. So I don't know.
I think Texas – and you can add Oklahoma into this, but Texas especially, it couldn't be better timing to enter the conference. You know, technically they weren't supposed to join for another 2 years, but we all knew this process would be sped up. But Texas with Sarkisian getting them to where they are over the last couple of years, and then maybe the conference as a whole not being as tough with Nick Saban leaving. Kirby Smart obviously still at Georgia and doing what they're doing. Auburn has taken a step back the last few years. LSU maybe not as strong. I know they just won the Heisman Trophy, but Brian Kelly's still trying to find his way. I think you know, Texas hasn't really done much in the last 20 years, and they've probably done the least with the most. And that's why people have said, look, you know, Texas, yeah, it's a big brand, but what have you done for me? They got the right guy, and there's the coach now. I think with the timing of the SEC, they're poised to come right in. You know, if they entered the conference 10 years ago, I think it's just more beatdown. I just think it's like, man, I think it would have been bad for their program if they'd have entered the conference 10 years ago and just taken beating after beating after beating, and then it would have maybe pushed them down to a point where they may not have been able to recover. Now they've got their stuff back together. They look like a dominant Texas program, and they're coming in the most dominant league, and that would be a massive boost for them if they were to come into this league in year one and go straight to an SEC title game and play maybe Georgia, because now it's going to be the teams with the best record, the two teams with the best record that go to the SEC championship game. There are no divisions anymore. So I just think that's something to think about. Timing's everything in life, Scott. You know that.
Agreed.
And I think Texas 10 years ago or even 5 years ago coming into this league would have walked into a bear trap. I think they would have it would have diminished their program even more. I think Oklahoma would have benefited more from coming in 5 years ago with Lincoln Riley. So now it's all a timing and change thing. So we'll kind of just see how that all plays out. But we'll keep that talk going and a lot more as we continue on. Stay tuned. Another hour coming up right after this.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance, with a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners. They honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Daveville. No appointment needed.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekend. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
The good guys at Alex City Marine are ready for your boating needs all summer. And now you can get up to $4,500 in rebates on our huge selection of new Landau Tri-Tunes and sacrifice pricing on remaining 23 models. Alex City Marine also has a new fleet of rental boats for fabulous days on the water. Whether it's service, new pontoon selections, or rental boats, see the pros the locals know. Alex City Marine on Cherokee Road in Alexander City or online at alexcitymarine.com.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. Tony Sarah Ford has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Ford and pre-owned inventories in the state and the Sarah Promise. Right now, valued customers receive up to $4,000 on select 2023 F-150 trucks plus 1.9% APR, or a new Bronco Sport for $393 a month plus $750 bonus cash. Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Tony Sarah Ford in Sylacauga.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment here in hour number one. Just wanted to do a quick glance at Texas's schedule. The speaker? Speaker's still on. It just gives you that little reverberation, doesn't it, Scott? But, all right, the Texas schedule, they open up with Colorado State, and then they go to Michigan. So now this isn't the same Michigan as last year, but they open up with those two games, and then Texas, San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe before they dive into SEC play. They open up with Mississippi State at home. Oklahoma will be the next game in Dallas, Texas, as it always is, the Red River rivalry. And then Georgia will come to Austin, Texas. So that will be a two-game stretch there for Texas, probably the toughest. Then Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, and A&M, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, first glance, it looks like you have the Michigan game and then that Oklahoma-Georgia stretch. But just first glance, you're looking at worst 9 wins, but you could probably see 10, 11 wins from that and putting them in contention to, as you said, being an SEC championship game easily.
Favored over A&M, favored over Kentucky, favored over Arkansas, favored over Georgia. Favored over Florida, Vanderbilt. Don't know what the point spread will be. With Georgia coming to town, you would think they might be a 1 or 2 point favorite over Georgia. I don't know. They'll be favored over Oklahoma, favored over Mississippi State.
So that's, really looking at one.
You're talking about a team coming in
two.
to a conference in year one and going and playing for a conference championship.
It would be
timing is everything.
Yeah. And I think that they, as I said last segment, I think that they've heard enough about, is Texas back? That we've had a couple of those false starts.
Well, that's right.
And so right. I think that now, if you're truly back, having the type of impact quickly, I think will help. And so, success breeds success. So if you see a competitor doing something, they have all been competing with Alabama and Georgia this whole time, but now it's different. So the recruiting battles are different.
Came to Bryant Denny, and won a game, and that's another deal. You kind of penetrate the. One of the toughest places in this league over the last 17 years to get a win, and they come in and do it a couple of years ago, and Sarkisian's kind of come in and given them the stability and the direction that there's no doubt, and in the recruiting too, I just think they had fallen off in being able to get the type of players, which is kind of unheard of at Texas. How are you not getting the right caliber player to come into that program? But now Sarkisian seems to be, and time will tell, Scott, for Alabama, and we'll have Luke on hopefully in the next hour. But Kalen DeBoer comes in from Washington. They just played for a national title, but really, it's kind of like you hear about the Auburn Cam Newton deal, you hear about the Washington Michael Penix deal. Without Michael Penix, they're probably not there. Without Cam Newton, we definitely knew Auburn wouldn't have been there. We knew what kind of coach Gene Chizik was, minus Cam Newton. I'm not saying that's who Kalen DeBoer is, so everybody just calm down, Alabama fans. And he's going to inherit a great quarterback in Jalen Milroe. But it's a different culture, different league. Can he bring whatever that is? And like I told you just a minute ago, I think it's important that he stay Kalen DeBoer. He doesn't become somebody else based off pressure. He's got to bring his system and try to win here with that. But you bring that down here, can he do that? Can he be that coach? And will Alabama fans go, man, Sarkisian was our guy? I thought we were going to get Steve Sarkisian. They weren't able to entice him away from Texas, so Alabama had to go and get Kalen DeBoer. And I think it's a good hire. I don't know. I don't think any Alabama fan knows right now. I don't think anybody really knows what can happen. Culture's going to be different. We've already seen some changes in some things. We saw a DJ in the meeting room the other day and the team kind of getting into it. You just haven't seen that Alabama in 17 years. Doesn't mean that it can't work, but it's a lot looser culture than even Alabama fans and Alabama players have been accustomed to.
Yeah, and we talked about just the Alabama culture and how college football itself has started to shift and how that's impacted some of these coaches and what they're willing to do and tolerate. And, because kids don't necessarily pursue schools anymore because of the name.
Right.
It's about, what you're offering and how I can get to the NFL. Maybe you do have to shift some things that are a little bit different. Now, Nick Saban had established a culture. They were coming to play for him. So that's a different thing. But now, it does appear to be a little loose, and maybe that's just an Auburn fan or Auburn fans looking at it and saying,
No, I don't think it's just Auburn fans.
But I bet there are some Alabama faithful and supporters who don't necessarily like some of what's going on. But we're dealing with a different type of kid.
It's going to be different. Again, you're not going to have what Nick Saban did for 7. You can't, and I think you feel worse when you try to emulate it. You have to come in and be you. You have to be the coach that got you where you are now, and you continue to build off of that. Now, whether that works or not, we'll see. That was Nick Saban's mentality up there, is that we're more business-like here. We're all about, staying focused on this, and, other teams were trying to take different routes and whatever. But anyway, Kalen DeBoer will be tasked with the pressure of following the greatest coach that we've ever seen, Scott, in our lifetime.
And I'd be interested, I'd ask some people this week, looking at the schedule, what would be a heartburn number of wins where you say, oh, this may not go well. And so 9 was the number that I was given. I was like, that's kind of the threshold. I don't think Alabama's going to win 7 or 8 games. I don't think we're getting to that point. But, you drop a couple, 3 games, does the shine immediately start to be removed?
Well, you're going to have – it's all in how the games are played, too.
Mm-hmm.
What does Alabama look like on the field versus what we've been used to seeing out there? We knew majority of the time for Alabama to lose a game, you had to play extremely well. There wasn't going to be a game where Alabama just went out there and played bad, and they gave you one. You had to earn it. Is there a couple of games this year where Alabama rolls out there and they look out of sorts? They look discombobulated, and that's going to be the difference. That's where you're going to watch and see if there's a change there. And I think the common fan is going to be a little irrational. Anytime they're not going to understand there's been a coaching change and all the different things. They're just going to expect things to keep rolling as they have been. I mean, you got to remember, there's kids that are 17, almost 18 years old that know this Alabama. they didn't know pre-Nick Saban, and so this will be their first taste of something different. It's almost like when I grew up, all I knew was Pat Dye. You know, that's all I knew is Auburn football was Pat Dye, and then after Pat Dye left, you know, everything else was okay. And it's been different since, because look at the different coaches we've had and the different philosophies. So, you know, change is imminent. You know, we'll see how it all works out. All right, up against the top of the hour break. Stay tuned. Another hour of Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown coming your way right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Since 1908, many talented tradesmen and women have proudly represented the Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air name. We're grateful for their commitment to excellence, always providing our clients with quality work that we're glad to guarantee with 100% satisfaction. No matter the problem, the Dixie Electric team is here for you, serving the Montgomery and Auburn areas. Thank you for choosing a locally owned company.
For more information, go to calldixie.com.
Call Dixie and it's done.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
At Majestic Caverns, we believe in the power of unforgettable experiences. At a cool 60 degrees year-round, America's most historic caverns guarantees an enjoyable escape. But it doesn't stop there. With over 20 above-ground attractions, including 5 new ones this year, and our Cave Cafe, which offers delicious drinks and plenty of food options. And don't miss our exciting event, Libertas. On June 29th, July 6th, and July 13th, enjoy live entertainment and much more. At Majestic Caverns, your unforgettable adventure awaits.
GlennSmith.com, the great shopping experience you'll get at our dealership. Online, GlennSmith.com. Brand new Chevrolets, brand new GMCs. GlennSmith.com. Compare pre-owned models side by side. GlennSmith.com. Get your best price every day and see everything we offer at your convenience 24/7. Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile at GlennSmith.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Here in hour number 2, we go to our Eric McKinley Mortgage Pro Hotline, welcoming our good friend and co-host Luke Robinson here on this Saturday morning. Luke, thanks for joining us here, as you've been doing for, like you said, maybe since 3rd grade.
Somewhere in there, yeah. I don't remember having a cell phone in 3rd grade. I guess it's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember a lot these days.
Yeah, me and you both. Isn't it funny that you can remember a play from the 1983 whatever game and exactly how the whole drive went? And if you ask me, hey, what was that last night that went on? You went, man, I can't tell you. I can't remember. Well, you were there. Well, I don't know. I guess I spaced out. Isn't it? The human brain is amazing in that state.
Well, I think it really comes down to, and we don't want to admit this, the play that happened in 1983 or whatever is something we care about. whatever we did last night was something we had to go do until we could get home and go to bed. And, so I guess those are the things that are going to have more influence on it. But I'm like you. I feel more and more like Joe Biden every day. Like, did I forget to shake this guy's hand? I better go ahead and do it again. I don't.
I hope we're not in that state. If we've gotten to that point, then I'm probably going to sign on off and I may get in a float and float on down the river and be done. That's another discussion for another day. Good Lord. But all right, let's talk about Alabama. Auburn's having a big recruiting weekend this weekend. A lot of big name, recruits in. A lot of commitments already for Auburn, but they've got some guys coming in that obviously they would like to add to their class. We had Jason Caldwell on Auburn Blitz yesterday, and he said, look, this is really the last big-time weekend until really the fall gets started. So let's talk about Alabama. Where's Alabama on the recruiting front? Luke, big weekends ahead. If they just kind of give everybody an update on what's going on.
Yeah, they definitely have some big guys in this weekend, too. I mean, look, it's the new wave. You got to get all your commitments early, and you want to get them done so you can go ahead and start recruiting on the next batch. And Alabama's been doing really well here on the recruiting trail. I mean, look, everybody was wondering how well Kalen DeBoer is going to acclimate himself into the South. Well, he's done a pretty doggone good job of it. I think the irony is a lot of his commitments have come still from out west at Mater Dei in California. He's recruiting Jackson Lloyd, who's on campus this weekend, who's one of the best offensive linemen in the country. But he still is recruiting, out west pretty well, too, while doing well in the South as well. So I know A.K. Deere is a running back that Alabama loves. He's been committed to Mississippi for quite some time. He's from Quitman, Mississippi. And if you're an Alabama fan and, you talk about memories, there are a lot of towns that are stamped on your brain because one particular person is from there. And I think that for Quitman, Mississippi, for me, it's Antonio McDyess. I'll never forget. Every time I pass Quitman, Mississippi, I'm always like, that's the home of Antonio McDyess. Same thing with Meridian, Mississippi. I always think about Derek McKee and Oil Can Boyd. I don't know why. I mean, those two just stick out to me. I'll never forget that's where they're from. But Alabama, Quitman's probably had some other athletes since then, but I don't think any of them have been as good as A.K. Deere. There's also Malachi Goodman, who is another great offensive lineman from the New Jersey area. Travis Smith, who I know is looking at Auburn too, is a wide receiver out of the Atlanta area. And, there's just a lot of guys in this weekend. Last weekend was a big one, but this one is too. And it's just not going to stop. Maybe the biggest one in this weekend is a kid named Justin Hill. Now, he may not be the biggest in terms of where he's ranked, even though he is like number 5 or number 6 edge rusher in the country. But I think I speak for Jimmy Stein, who does Locked On Bama with me. He and I just absolutely love this guy. Now, if we had our own ranking system, we'd probably say, okay, he may be the number 1 edge rusher in the country because he reminds both of us a little bit of Derek Thomas in terms of the quick twitch off the edge. Now, he's from Cincinnati, Ohio, so, yeah, it's going to be a tough fight to get him out of Ohio State. And right now, with Ohio State's NIL and the way that they're recruiting, they're just not losing a lot of people. If they want them, they're going to get them. I mean, that's how it's been. And I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I'm not crazy, and I see that that's what they're doing. And again, more power to them. That's the way of the world now. So I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying that they have a very powerful NIL system. They've got they are in a state where they don't have an Auburn to deal with. I mean, Ohio State is it. That's it. They don't even have a Michigan State. They don't have anything. And so when they want somebody, they generally get them. They're right in the middle of America for the most part. So when they want somebody, they have a good shot at them. So, it's going to be a tough pull for Alabama to get him, but certainly they have a shot. And, yeah, the recruiting's going really well. Alabama's up to number 3 in the recruiting rankings by a couple of services and as low as number 5 or 6 by others. So I would say, yeah, this staff's really got it together in terms of how they're doing when it comes to recruiting.
Well, when the hire of DeBoer was made, I wasn't sure in terms of how you would be as a recruiter, and clearly it looks like things are going well. But what are people saying in terms of how, like, what's making him a good recruiter? Is he doing things? Is it a little bit different how Alabama's approaching kids, or what they're doing? But it doesn't appear that anything has changed in terms of the rankings, obviously, and the caliber player that Alabama is recruiting. But just your thoughts or what you're hearing about what his style of recruiting is and how that's impacting the success so far.
Well, and I hate to be so glum about it from our point of view as older college football fans, right? In the end, I'm going to say the same thing about Alabama I said about Ohio State. Yeah, Alabama sort of recruits itself. It's got some of the best facilities, if not the best facilities in the country, and it's the biggest brand in the country right now. I mean, that's not me talking; that's the metrics talking. It is a monster brand, and so it helps. But the other thing is NIL. Alabama's got a pretty good NIL. I mean, it's not the best, but it's really good. And if you're not in touch with the NIL, I don't care how charismatic you are, then that's going to be something that you're going to have to overcome, and it's very difficult because in the end, money talks. I heard you guys talking about Juju Lewis earlier. Think about it. Nobody's ever talked about this, but this, you want to talk about something that's probably an example of some NIL stuff, is his 4 schools, for a guy that's a top 5 quarterback in the country, are Auburn, USC, Colorado, and Indiana. That's kind of weird. But what that tells you is those schools are like, okay, this is where we're deciding to focus a lot of our NIL funds. And that's what everybody's going to be. I'm not mad at anybody for it at all. I swear. Because I also know that, hey, look, if I don't contribute to Alabama's NIL, nothing's going to get done either. So that's just, it's just when you see certain people with, like, sort of oddball guys, and like, why is Indiana in that group? Well, they may have decided this, we're going to try and focus this to increase brand awareness. I mean, and it's just, it's very random and very weird, but it's the way it is. And we're all going to have to do that and get used to it. And I feel like we talk about it every week, so maybe we should be used to it. But it's just the way it is. I said it the other day, I think last Saturday, I talked about a particular recruit that Alabama and Auburn are familiar with that's committed elsewhere, that I heard a total on his NIL that he's not even a quarterback, but he's getting quarterback money. And I just said, I don't know how we're supposed to compete with that. I mean, Alabama and Auburn have pretty good NILs, but we can't compete with that. We just don't have that kind of money. And if we do, it's kind of crazy to give it, because then you set the market for the next guy next year who's probably just as good, who's like, well, you gave him this, and he's not a quarterback, so why don't I get it? And you go down a rabbit hole, so you got to be very careful about it. But in terms of how Kalen DeBoer is doing it this year, I mean, the other thing you have to sell is, hey, we're playing in the best conference in the country. And again, that's something that all SEC teams have in their back pocket, playing in the most visible conference in the country. And even if we lose 3 games, there's a really good chance we're getting in the playoffs. There's a really good chance, which is great for us as a school, but it's also great for you, because if you're playing on a playoff caliber team, well, guess what the stations have to do for the week and a half that goes between the season and whenever the playoffs start? They have to have time filler. So they're going to do all these feel-good stories or background stories about where guys like you came from, which just increases your visibility. So, I mean, it all feeds itself. And so, as one of my old bosses used to say, work gets you more work, and success gets you more success. The more you have success, the more it feeds on itself. So I think right now Alabama is doing all it can to continue to feed off its previous success, and Kalen DeBoer is doing a marvelous job of it. And he's also switched around the way Alabama is culturally. Now, not in a bad way. He's switched around. I think that things are a little bit looser. It's not like crazy. It's not Miami in the early 90s, but it's, hey, yeah, there's going to be some music at practice, and it's not going to be just Rocky Top when they play Tennessee. There can be some music. We can relax the hold on everything just a little bit and see how it goes. And if things start going the wrong way, I'm sure he'll pull back the reins. But right now, he's giving players a little bit more leniency, which can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. I guess we'll see. But right now, it seems like it's been a good thing.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we'll carry you over here. Just a programming note. We'll carry Luke over here just a few more minutes, and we'll catch up on our breaks. But that's what we just talked about. The change. You know, there's Kalen DeBoer is going to be under a microscope anyway, because you're following Nick Saban, and you know when something doesn't quite go right, then you know the common fan's going to point a finger. Well, let's see, Coach Saban didn't do it that way, and blah blah blah. And so I think he's trying to be Kalen DeBoer, which I told Scott. I think that's what you got to do as a coach. You can't come in and try to be somebody you're not. You got to run the program like you know how to run it. And you know what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you got to be you. I think you got to be the person that can go to sleep at night and say, I did it the way that I know how to do it. We've seen other coaches try to change and be, you know, and do things that's out of their comfort zone. It doesn't work. So I do agree with you on that. I want to switch gears real quick and talk about this SEC-ACC matchup. Who in the world would have thought 10 years ago that Alabama and Auburn would have the premier matchups in the ACC-SEC Challenge, and we'd be playing the two powerhouse programs from the ACC in North Carolina and Duke? But I think it sends a message, Luke, that you and I and Randy and Scott and all of us have been talking about the last couple of years, is that, you know, we can say all we want to say about the past 20, 30, 40 years of Auburn and Alabama basketball, but this is the new era of Auburn and Alabama basketball. Auburn and Alabama are the best two teams in this league, and I don't think anybody can argue with you. And it shows in who they matched us up with in this ACC Challenge.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth here, because you know that I'm a big believer in, you know, blue bloods, and some people hate that term, but they have earned their status as blue bloods. So usually I give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, even though I'm sort of like you, Brad, I'd get a little upset that every year it seemed like it was Kentucky Duke or Kentucky North Carolina, and I'm like, hey, you know, we won the SEC last year. Hey, you know, Auburn won the SEC last year. Why are we getting Virginia Tech and Clemson? And no offense to Virginia Tech and Clemson at all. I don't mean it that way, but I think that you're kind of blind and you're being pretty obtuse if you're not going to say, hey, Duke and North Carolina are the bell cows clearly out of the ACC. So, yeah, it bothered me a little bit, but I think what's happened is we bided our time. We did it for the long haul. You know, I guess it's right to reward us now after years. I mean, 5-6 years of Alabama and Auburn being the top dogs in this conference. And it took a little bit of time, maybe a little more than we wanted to, but it feels so good right now.
It does.
To have earned it, you know, instead of we call lightning in a bottle. And I don't feel like neither Alabama nor Auburn has that. I think that there are programs that are here to stay for right now. I don't think that this is, hey, man, they just had the right roster at the right time. I don't think that at all. And then when you look at the rosters that are coming back, I mean, it would be a crying shame for the college basketball world if Alabama were playing, you know, Virginia Tech and Auburn were playing, pick Wake Forest or something. I mean, it would be wrong, because it's depriving the country of two great games. And there are also some great stories in here. I mean, you know, last time Auburn played Duke, they played them and they got beat by them in Maui on their way to eventually to the Final Four. Obviously, Alabama and North Carolina. Alabama's won the last two meetings with them, and they've been great games. And on top of that, Alabama's got Jared Stevenson there, who is from essentially Chapel Hill, whose parents played at North Carolina, and he ended up graduating early and going to Alabama. So he'll be having somewhat of a homecoming. And it's sort of like the revenge tour of Pete Chilcutt from back in the day. I mean, Scott's probably too young to know who that is, but there'll be some people that get that. And it's just great. And I'll tell you what I love even more. I love even more that we're going there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I do too.
I'm fine. I would love to see, it'd be fun if Duke came to Neville and North Carolina came to Coleman. Yeah, that'd be fun, sure. And I'd go. But going there is like they're extending an invitation to you to come to a place that you don't get to go very often. Like, they don't just ask anybody to come there. Usually it's either a really big opponent or it's somebody they know they can beat, or it's somebody they have to invite that's out of their own conference. And so when they give you an invitation, you're either a sacrificial lamb or you're a bona fide big boy now. And just like Alabama and Auburn probably aren't going to ask very often for Duke and North Carolina to come to their places. I know they've played them in the past at home and home things, but if you remember, the whole reason Alabama ended up going to Duke was because Alabama was under the assumption that, hey, we're going to do this twice at a neutral site because you don't want to have us at your place. I mean, we're going to beat your brakes off if we come there. Well, they did, and Alabama did beat their brakes off. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that it's a rite of passage, and it's wonderful for both schools to be able to do this.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Maybe they'll return the favor and come to our places next year. I think that would be really, really good. And the last thing I wanted to say is that, I know we talked about Auburn's schedule last year, maybe not as strong in the pre-SEC. Well, Bruce Pearl erased that this time. Maui Invitational, you're going to be out there with North Carolina, UConn, Michigan State, Dayton, just a great lineup of teams that will be out there in Maui. Now, Auburn obviously playing Duke at Cameron Indoor, and then the talk of Auburn adding Purdue in Birmingham in the preseason or the pre-SEC. Really just turning doing a 180. And Bruce Pearl knows he's got a veteran team, and you kind of saw what Alabama did with Nate Oates last year, and they took some on the chin, but it prepared them for their run. So I think, look, playing these high-profile games, you're not gonna win all of them. You want to win your fair share of them, but the more that you're out there playing that competition and getting that exposure, the better it is for your program.
Yeah, and look, I can't speak for Bruce Pearl on this at all, but it sure seemed like Bruce Pearl was willing to sacrifice some potential high-profile wins for getting just a surefire win and having a better record versus being battle-tested for a long time. It felt like that for a while. Now, some of it may be that people just didn't want to play Auburn, because they were like, hey, we get no benefit from it at the time. Now, I think that Auburn has raised their visibility enough and raised their reputation enough where, okay, if you play Auburn now, it's a feather in your cap versus a burden you have to bear. And I think Bruce Pearl is capitalizing on that. And look, I think it's really smart. Yeah, I mean, there's some Alabama fans saying, well, he's just doing what Nate Oates did. Well, who cares? It's the right thing to do. I don't care that he's doing it. Last year's schedule for Auburn, there's no other way to put it, was a joke. It was not competitive. It was not really fun. And the biggest non-conference game, I guess you could say, was Baylor, but that was the very first game in a neutral site. And then the second biggest non-conference game was at Appalachian State for that team with that crew. That's unfair to Auburn fans. That's unfair to that team. That's unfair to Auburn University. And I'm going to give Bruce Pearl a ton of credit because now he's like, okay, we've got this. We've got this ability to go out and schedule some people. Let's go do it. And, yeah, we might have to go play on the road more than we want to. And maybe we don't go to Purdue this year. Maybe we have to play them in Birmingham. So be it. But, I go back to what I've always said about, you look at how Bobby Bowden built Florida State. He didn't build Florida State playing a bunch of soup cans. He built Florida State by going out and playing anybody, anywhere, anytime, and getting better. And that's the only way you really learn is from your losses or from failures. You don't learn from your victories. So I think that it's going to be so much better for Auburn long term to go and do this. And, yeah, they probably won't win 30 games this year because the schedule is going to be too tough. And not only that, by the way, the SEC is going to be too tough. Nobody in the SEC is going to win 28, 30 games probably. But you'll be a better team for it. You'll see it, and it'll probably pay many dividends come March. And I think that's what it's all about. Who cares if you lose? I mean, Alabama played all these difficult teams last year. They played one after the other, and they got beat. They got beat in Phoenix against Arizona. They got beat in Toronto against Purdue. It's tough. It's tough to do it. But guess what? It paid off in the end, didn't it?
It definitely did. And Luke, we appreciate it, man. I appreciate you hanging over for another segment. Just a lot going on, a lot to discuss, and we wanted to make sure we got it covered. But have a good weekend, buddy. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks so much. We're up against an extended break. We'll return, though, right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SEC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
GlennSmith.com, the great shopping experience you'll get at our dealership. Online, GlennSmith.com. Brand new Chevrolets, brand new GMCs. GlennSmith.com. Compare pre-owned models side by side. GlennSmith.com. Get your best price every day and see everything we offer at your convenience 24/7. Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC in Opelika, Alabama. Get ready to smile at GlennSmith.com.
Alex City and west side of the lake. It's time to celebrate because the all-new Lake Martin Pizza is open with the area's best pizza, and it's just down Highway 63 South in our town. Lake Martin Pizza of Highway 63 has a huge outdoor seating area with enclosed heated comfort, a full bar with cold beer, wine, and full spirit selection with family ownership and fun for the whole family. Dine in or pick up. It's just a short drive to our town and is hands down the area's best pizza. Like us on Facebook to see upcoming live entertainment and watch sports on our 360 wraparound TVs. Rejoice! Lake Martin Pizza on Highway 63 is ready for you.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Dadeville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All in an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air, 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. A couple segments left here in the show this morning. Good stuff from Luke there. Catch us up on the Alabama side of things. Scott, I wanted to talk to you about this basketball deal, though. Man, what a great, I guess, and Luke was right. You built it over time, and Auburn and Alabama now have shown the last 5 years they are the best two teams. It would be dumb on the ACC and the SEC's part not to put them with North Carolina and Duke. You would be just totally ignoring where your programs are in the conference rank and file and just vaulting Kentucky up there by default just because they're that name. I think this shows, and again, sending breaking news on this show, but I'm going to take it out and I'm going to go and step out on a limb, that Auburn and Alabama both are better programs than Kentucky and Tennessee right now. And I'm not sure it won't be that way for the foreseeable future. Kentucky has been relying on past and tradition and the name, and I think we've seen that with NIL and transfer portal and all that only carries so much weight anymore. And you can cry in your milk if you want to, but I think you're going to see that happening moving forward, and I think that helped vault, especially Auburn, up to where it is, and I think Auburn's success vaulted Alabama to where it is, because Alabama, with Anthony Grant and Avery Johnson and those guys, when Auburn hired Bruce Pearl, it took Bruce 3 years. But when he got Auburn where it needed to be, Alabama said, look, we better step up or we're about to get run out of here. And Auburn had to do the same in football with Nick Saban. And we did, I think, the best you could possibly do against having to be in the state with that guy. Auburn got, several wins there. But as a whole, I mean, Bruce Pearl really kind of came in here and changed the culture of basketball in this state. And now you see our two programs, the best two in this conference.
Yeah, and it's not even just the state. I think that, and we'll say Nate Oates too, but I think Auburn shifted the landscape of the conference in general too. I always go back to I guess it was maybe 2016 maybe when Auburn beat Kentucky. And I thought that it was a program-changing win because that just didn't happen. We never expected to beat Kentucky. But going back to the Auburn-Duke matchup, that's one I've been waiting for my entire life. And I love that it's in Cameron Indoor, but the opportunity to go is going to be very slim. But if there's a way, I'm going to try to figure out my best to do so. I'm a big Duke guy. I loved Coach K. And so,
I hate them, and it's going to make it even more fun for me.
I think that's the case for most. Yeah, I think that.
I'm a North Carolina fan.
Well, see, the only thing that happened with that, I could have easily been a North Carolina guy, but a friend of my dad's was from North Carolina, and he went back home to visit his family, and he asked my dad, did I want a Duke or North Carolina hat? My dad said, just get him a Duke hat. And so I was maybe 6 or 7. Okay. So then that's how it happened. But I think that Auburn and Alabama getting those two matchups also is more of an indictment, too, on the state of Kentucky basketball and where they are. And so a lot of change. We'll see what happens with the new direction of Kentucky basketball.
This is pissing them off.
Oh, man.
Now Kentucky fans, they're as irate as they've ever been. They bring a hometown guy back to be the coach. A lot of people skeptical of him. Trying to rebuild that program back and get the play. Again, that's another thing with the transfer portal, Scott, is that and especially in basketball, one day you can have a full roster, next day you can have an empty locker room. And John Calipari did that at Arkansas. He went over there for a press conference. There wasn't a single player on the roster. He said, he said, well, the first thing I got to do is go find a team to coach before we start worrying about how well we're going to do. And he has done well, and obviously they've got a great roster put together in a short amount of time, but still there'll be some transition there as well. But Kentucky, I think the spotlight's on them right now, how they're going to handle this transition, and are they going to fight to vault themselves back to the top of the mountain in this conference? It's going to be really tough. It's going to be tougher than it ever has been, in their program's history. They've been at the top of this conference for 60 years, 70 years. And now you've got some new guys in town, in Auburn and Alabama, and then of course Tennessee too. I mean, Tennessee's had I would say a better program than Kentucky overall the last 3 or 4 years. I think if you ranked them, I think Auburn, Alabama, however you want to put them, 1A, 1B, and then it's Tennessee and then Kentucky from there.
And I think that obviously, Florida still is around, but I think Arkansas has had a decent run of late too, and I think that with Cal coming, they maybe even are ahead of Kentucky at this point. Just knowing, I think
I would take Arkansas this year over Kentucky.
So that a lot of transition.
This is a big year for them to see how. Kentucky could easily lose. I don't know, man. Depending on how the schedule. They got Texas now, and then you got to play Auburn and Alabama, and you got to play Arkansas. The Florida is coming. It's tough. It's a lot tougher, and so it will be interesting to see how they handle this year and paving the way moving forward with the new head coach. So,
agreed.
All right, up against another break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
The new owners of Stillwater's Country Club want to welcome you to play the area's premier course at Stillwater's with our new rate. Now, play for only $35 per 18 during the week and only $40 for the weekend. Stillwater's Golf is ready to give you the area's best golf experience, and many upgrades are coming, including a lighted range and course expansion. Meet the new staff and enjoy $35 per 18 Monday through Friday and $40 on the weekends. All at Stillwater's Country Club in Dadeville.
Is the time, and Team One Hyundai is the place for the best deals on a new Hyundai. Rebates up to $2,000, 3 years of complimentary maintenance, and the lowest price you'll find anywhere. Team One Hyundai has Elantra, Palisade, Santa Cruz, and the all-new Santa Fe. Get America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles, plus Hyundai Assurance, and the best deal you can find. Let us prove it. Team One Hyundai, Highway 77 in Rainbow City.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Thunderbolt Lightfoot at Oscar's Cafe on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, Alabama is looking to see you today. Now let me tell you, they got great food. They've always had great food all these years. Now they still got that atmosphere. They still got that service. They still cater. Let me stop right there. 15 to 415 they can handle. So give them a call today at Oscar's Highway 49 South in Dadeville. 256-825-4827.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
OGS Tournaments presents Crank for Bank. Win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 75 tag crappie are waiting to be caught by you in Lake Martin. Register now online at crankforbank.com for only $120. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or the shores of Lake Martin to win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. It's Crank for Bank.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill, Sunshine Heating. I'm not going to dive into some of this that we just looked at. It is like when you think you've seen, like social media, man, has brought so much to light. I guess all this stuff was out there, but you didn't see it before.
That's really.
I'm telling you, man, it is some of the stuff that actually gets videoed or they have conferences about. It is like an SNL skit. I know we say that all the time, but like we used to watch Saturday Night Live to have a satire on an event. Like, dude, that's reality now.
It is.
We are living in it.
And it's you have to laugh at it. It's not funny. It's not funny.
Well, I don't know what you laugh or jump off a cliff or something. I don't know.
There's a lot of change happening across the country, and how that impacts us as individuals. You know, that's up to you. But you know,
that video there,
it's pretty tough.
I mean, how do you blame a sign for something?
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. Maybe that's the solution. I don't know. I don't. It just blows my mind. But anyway, we'll get away from that. Moving into the last couple segments here of the program, go back and talk. We didn't really talk about the guys that are in this week or this weekend for Auburn, namely Julian Lewis. Call him Juju Lewis from Carrollton, Georgia, is committed to USC. 5-star. Auburn has obviously targeted him heavily for this recruiting class. I think a lot. You know, we had Jason on yesterday, Scott. I think, not saying there's an ultimatum from both sides, but I think you got to decide if you're Juju Lewis, is this where I'm going? All right, I'm committed to USC and all, but I'm from Carrollton, Georgia. I want to be in the SEC. Is this where I'm going? All right. And if you're Auburn, you're saying, are you in or out? You know, and if you're in and we're all in agreement on the terms, then let's be in and let's start building this thing and get to work and all this kind of stuff. Let's just cut out the hem hawing. Now, again, I don't know if that results in a flip the next few days or what, or it's a silent agreement with underneath and said, look, I'm just going to keep my commitment right now to keep the pressure off. But yeah, I'm coming here. I don't know how all that's going to go down, but I do feel like, listening to Jason yesterday and, kind of reading the tea leaves and stuff, that conversation is going to be had this weekend at some point.
Yeah, and for Auburn's purposes, they need to know because they've kind of gone all in.
Somewhere else.
I mean, if it's not Juju, then you need to move on. And again, I think that we've talked about the recruiting classes, especially at the skill position that Auburn's been able to accumulate over the last year and a half. And if you're able to, like, you already know you have Walker White coming, but if you're able to get him too, now you bring some stability to the quarterback room that Auburn hasn't had in a while. And so now you can start building for other recruiting position or other positions of recruitment. It's all right. Look, we're going to be fine regardless of who we've got. Juju, we've got Walker White, we've got guys who are here to help build the program, so it makes it easier to sell along with whatever you're talking about NIL wise. But just in terms of the program itself, I think it would be a great get for Auburn, and I think it also would show that Auburn's at a point where we're not like, we want you and we think that you could be a great addition to what we're trying to do here, but because we're Auburn, we don't have to just sit here and we're not in the same boat that we were 2 years ago where we just kind of have to take whatever we can get. I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah, and I think, again, he can be that catalyst for guys to stay and new guys to come in. Getting a guy to commit to you and say that he's coming the caliber of Julian Lewis is going to impact other kids' decisions where they want to go play. Daryl Johnson in from Eastman, Georgia. He's an Alabama commit, a 4-star linebacker. Again, making a trip there. Had somebody ask a question yesterday on Auburn Blitz. Do you think Auburn has a legit shot at him? I said, he's in Auburn, isn't he? So when you make the trip, you do that, I think you got a shot. I don't know. Again, kids commit. They feel a sense of loyalty to a certain degree, but if they're willing to travel and they're willing to come in on the biggest recruiting weekend of that other school, then there's something they like about that school. So, yeah, I think you got a chance. Again, like Patrick said in the comments earlier in the show, Eric Winters from Enterprise, 6'2", 200-pound, one of the top players in the state, safety, 4-star. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a commitment we get this weekend. Or maybe early next week after the visit. But he was at the 7-on-7 last 2 weeks ago. Sedarian matched up against him. Sedarian got the better of him. But that's a safety trying to cover a guy 6'5" and is a freak of nature in Sedarian Morgan. And you're going to hear us talk more about him over the next couple of years. He has a chance to be one of the best players in the country. And I mean the best player, I'm talking about overall player. I'm talking about he's number 4 in his class as a receiver right now. I think he'll go higher than that. And you know what? This kid's growing. I don't know. I mean, he may be 6'8", Scott. He may not even be a receiver prospect by the time this is all said and done. So, all right, well, up against our final break of the show. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front lines. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
College World Series underway. Yesterday, 2 unreal games. Virginia and North Carolina. North Carolina walked it off against Virginia, and Tennessee walked it off against Florida State after being down 3 runs going into that last inning. They ended up winning that game 12-11. Scott, they were down 11-8. And they come back and win the game 12-11. Tennessee's the number 1 seed in the College World Series. So they're in the winner's bracket. North Carolina in the winner's bracket in bracket number 1. Bracket 2 today, Kentucky, NC State. NC State playing really good right now. Just went to Georgia in the Super Regional and knocked them off, scored a ton of runs in the 2 wins that they had. Beat them 18-1 that first game. Kentucky, though, different style team. These other teams in the World Series, power ball. Kentucky's really a small ball type team, so we'll see how they match up. They're the number 2 seed there in the bracket. And then Texas A&M and Florida will match up later on at 6 o'clock. So 4 SEC teams, 4 ACC. This is like a SEC-ACC challenge in baseball.
Yeah, and, you know, the SEC has an opportunity again to come away with some hardware from the Diamond. But I wanted to ask, have you been to Omaha?
I've never been. No, I haven't.
That's one sporting event that I really
wanted to go
yeah.
when Auburn went this last time, and we were planning on going, but I can't remember. Something happened, and we weren't able to go, and some prior engagement or whatever. So, but if Auburn goes again, I definitely going to. You know, I've said that in football and said it in basketball and all that, and we've made these trips, and so Omaha's the next one to check off.
I'd love to have that opportunity, but the SEC again doing what it does, and Tennessee has been a premier program for quite some time. But you look at Kentucky, and as you said, like we talked about them kind of earlier in the year, and you're right, they don't really score a lot of runs, or they're go manufacture runs the best way they can, but they're very good defensively, very good pitching, and when you have that puts you in a good opportunity to win a lot of ball games.
It does. So yeah, those 2 games on slate today, starting at 1 o'clock, Kentucky, NC State, and then Texas A&M and Florida. So, man, heavily laden 3 SEC teams on this side of the bracket, only 1 on the other side in Tennessee. 50-50 chance on an all-ACC championship series or an all-SEC championship series, because you got 4 and 4 there in the College World Series. Always a lot of fun. Man, baseball's a long season.
It is.
They start in January, too.
Yeah.
And dadgummit.
Yeah.
I ain't sitting here playing this out, got to go through the double elimination part just to get to the championship series. And a lot of these guys, when they get finished with this, on the other ones that have been finished, they're off playing in the Cape Cod League. These guys right here, when they're done, when their last the outs made in their last game, they're off to play summer ball somewhere. Then they come back to their college and get started in October for fall ball. I mean, this never stops.
It doesn't, and it's long, and even like MLB, like I was just looking. I do fantasy baseball, and
it is
like,
such a
you get
long.
through like this time of the year. It's like, man, you haven't even got to the All-Star break yet, and it's like it's. I don't know why you have to play that many games, but I guess that's just what it is. But April,
when they had the shortened season with COVID, I thought it was the perfect time to change, and they went back to
that's a good point.
The daggum 162. I mean, Scott. I mean, some of these teams are out of it a month into the season.
That's the part I'm saying. It's like how do you get motivated to play?
We had a guy that we know that went out to, and I know we got the show. We're up against the end of the show, but we had a guy I know that went out to Kansas City. He's actually out there for the College World Series too, but he went to the Kansas City Royals and New York Yankees game the other day, and there was a picture, and it was in the third. I thought he was there before the game, and he was there, and he showed the scoreboard was in the third inning, and I was like, man, in Kansas City, I mean, Kansas City's 40-31. They're not bad. But like Chicago White Sox are 18-53. Ain't nobody go. First of all, nobody going to that side of Chicago, even if they are. I've been before, and somebody got shot and killed the night. I was at the game, and the cab driver was like, "Hey man, you need to get in the cab, and we need to go." And it's like, I mean, so that they have nothing to play for, dude, and they're not even to the All-Star break.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
it's a grueling.
Man,
I bet you. A midweek game, Chicago White Sox.
Ain't nobody in there.
150, 200 people.
Seriously,
in that stadium.
It's tough, and I mean, part of it is too. That's why they get so much money. I guess because of the amount of games they're playing. But baseball money is so unreal and it's guaranteed.
They are 28 games out of first place.
There's no way. I mean,
just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Maybe that's what you do after a certain amount of time. You come back and say, all right, these teams are mathematically.
There's
no need.
Because nobody's showing up anyway. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Saturday Sports Countdown. Been a great show. Appreciate all the comments and interaction. As always, we'll be back with you next week for more Sports Blitz programming. For Sky Hardy, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We hope you have. Have a great weekend, everybody.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. And Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
With summer here, the kids out of school, and fun at the lake, illness or injury can strike at any time. Whether you're on vacation or just don't have time to go see your primary doctor, visit your friends and professionals at Ivy Creek Urgent Care, located at Highway 49 South, next to Stillwater's main entrance. With a rotation of 4 professional doctors and 3 nurse practitioners, they honor all walk-ins, get you in, properly treated, and out swift so you can be back to the summer fun fast. When you need urgent, see Ivy Creek Urgent Care, Daveville. No appointment needed.
Summertime is a special time. Time on the water, time away from work, and more time with family and friends. Make sure your heart is ready for the season with an appointment at the UAB Heart and Vascular Clinic at Russell Medical. I'm Dr. Kevin Sublett, and our entire clinic is dedicated to keeping your heart healthy. We're right here in your own community and backed by the knowledge and expertise of UAB Medicine. Make an appointment today by calling 256-234-2644 or visit uabmedicine.org/heartrussell.
Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor wants you to know the only thing hotter than the summer on the lake is the hot incentives with all Mahindra tractors and farm implements and tough Spartan mowers. Right now, get the year's hottest deals on Mahindra with financing up to 84 months or 0%. Speaking of zero, see the huge selection of zero-turn Spartan mowers with 0% interest, financing up to 60 months. See the Lakes Authorized Mahindra and Spartan dealer, Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, for deals that sizzle all season long.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.